Hi, everyone. I'm just prepping here for our interview with Robin O'Grady, so she'll be joining us soon. If you aren't familiar with Robin, she not only teaches fitness classes in Calgary, but also runs her own business on the side. There we go. Hey, Robin, how's it going?
Hello.
You look so nice. I like your shirt.
Thank you.
For those of you, I was just saying, that don't know Robin, my fitness journey actually began with Robin. So I was in university, and there was this advertisement that Spa Lady actually was running a training, and I didn't know anything about fitness. And Robin taught me my first sort of fitness training, and it's been that ever since. So that was where I started. So I'm really honored to have you here today, Robin, and really appreciate that you've taken the time to join me. It means a lot.
Yeah, of course. Oh my gosh. And I remember your class, like your whole session so well. It was so amazing. And I was so grateful to have you. And we've continuously just bumped into each other in the industry ever since, you know? So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's funny how that is, eh? Because I feel like I've seen you every few years, and even my little sister goes to the same school as your son does. So it's
Yeah.
like, what are the chances?
I know. Everywhere I go, it's like, oh, Catherine is here.
Yeah, no, exactly. So the first question I had for you today, you've been in fitness a long time, since 2003, and obviously come a long way since then. Do you remember the first class that you taught and how it felt to teach it?
I actually do. And I sort of have two parts to that because the gym that I was at the time, I was not a super fitness person as a kid. I was very active, but I didn't do sports or anything like that. And so I came to fitness from this gym that I had joined with my husband, and it was a bodybuilder's gym, which was so funny because I'm not that person, and I definitely wasn't that person. I'm more that person now than I was then. And but they had classes, and the instructor, there was one instructor at the time, and so that's it. It was just her, and if you could make her class, great, and if you couldn't, you couldn't. And she was going on vacation, and so I was a regular in her class. So she actually asked me if I would cover her class while she went on vacation. So I was not certified. I was nothing, and I was just a participant in her class who went all the time. So my very first class was a disaster, but it was so fun. I had no idea what I was doing, and but I really enjoyed myself because the people that were in the class were people that I knew because I had gone to class with them so often. So that was lovely.
Yeah, I think that's so true with teaching fitness, that it's the people in the class that really
Yeah.
make, the experience. I know when I started, I was so nervous to teach. And one thing my mom said to me actually was that you aren't going there for yourself, but to make this like positive experience for the people there. And that's
Yes.
sort of what matters. And I know that like made such a difference to me, sort of thinking of it in that way,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So the next question I have for you is, so in the long career you've had, what has been the hardest moment that you can think of?
Um, I mean, there's been hard classes. I've had bad classes that just didn't go well, or where, I didn't feel very well. So, the class wasn't great for me personally. But I think that the hardest thing that happened for me in the industry was moving on from a location that I had been at for so long. And, I was 15 years with the same location, and it was 100% the right time, maybe even a little late for me to leave that particular location. But it was really, really hard because you spend 15 years, you give 15 years of your life to a place. There's loyalty there, there's love there, and all of my participants there, I still to this day miss desperately. But it was the right thing for me to do at the time. It was just a very, very difficult decision to make.
How do you sort of make those decisions? Like, is there a inner compass you use when it's time to, say move on from something or anything
Yeah.
like that?
Yeah. In that case, I didn't listen to my what you're calling your inner compass, my gut. I didn't listen to it soon enough. That's why I had said, maybe it was a little too late. But yeah, we definitely have to stop and take stock of what our body, what our mind, and what our heart is telling us is the right thing. And this is a mistake that people make in fitness all the time. Even if you look at it just from the perspective of their body, a lot of us are pushing through an injury or through something that we shouldn't, and making it worse. But when it comes to making like real life decisions, I think my lesson, especially in that situation, was to slow down long enough to listen, and because I'm a rusher. Like I'm always, anybody who knows me knows that about me. Like I'm moving at high speed almost constantly. So, over the years I've learned to actually like physically, and I actually physically, because I'm a very physical person, I physically stop, stop, and then I give myself the time to really decide what's the right thing in that moment. One of my mentors, Simone Hodgkinson, taught me all about meditation. So I use it in a little bit of a different way because I am such a mover. But you just have to take the time to listen first. And that's where most of us are making a mistake, right? We just are too busy to listen.
No, that's so true, eh? That actually sort of ties in with the next thing I wanted to ask you. So on e-speakers, you mentioned that your subconscious affects your perception, and your perception sort of influences your success. So even when things are difficult, and maybe it sounds like you do this a bit with pausing and that kind of thing, but how do you bring or continue to bring a positive attitude to the classes you teach and the content that you're creating?
Yeah. Oh man. The subconscious, I've done a lot of studying in the last 3 years on 3 or 4 years on the way that the brain functions. And it's really, really cool and really, really fascinating what our brain is capable of, both to our benefit and to our detriment. But one of the things that really sticks with me and that I share with my clientele all the time is that your subconscious mind is 6 full seconds ahead of your conscious mind. So if any of you have just been in a fight with your spouse or with a sibling or something like that, for sure sometime in your life you have said something that you didn't want to actually say. And afterwards you kind of went, oh God, what did I just say? I didn't mean it. That's really what happened, is that your subconscious, your emotions, that side of things took over. And you hear in people in anger management, they say count to 10. That's the 6 seconds that they're looking for. So often we have to actually take the time to pause and give that 6 seconds its time to sort of bubble up to the conscious mind, so that we can make a decision that is the right thing for us and for the community around us. 6 seconds is a long time.
Yeah.
It's a really long time. Yeah.
I didn't know that about the 6 seconds. I think that's so interesting. And it sounds like very implementable in a person's daily life. Like it's something everyone can do.
Yeah.
How do you keep yourself motivated with everything? Do you have some personal tips or anything you're doing that sort of keeps your energy up as you're doing all these things?
Yeah, I'm a pretty high energy person in my nature.
Yeah.
But, I've definitely, through all of this, just like everybody else, I've had days or moments of just not being productive or not feeling like I want to be productive, So everybody sort of has those things. I do a couple of things. One thing is in my calendar, and actually just before we got on, it popped up. In my calendar, twice a day, I have a statement. And it's mine is kind of funny now, and I change it every once in a while because it becomes part of the wallpaper, so you have to make sure that you're paying attention to it. So excuse my language, those of you who are listening, but mine currently says do the shit that matters. And so it just sort of, and I have it in times of day when I tend to have a lull, those mid-afternoon, those moments when you just tend to lull. And then it just reminds me that, every little thing that I do, small and big, has an impact on what my tomorrow is going to look like. And so that's one way that I sort of keep myself motivated and energized to keep doing it. So even if I am feeling a lull, when that comes up on my calendar, I go, yes. Okay, let's go back on track, right?
Yeah.
Just a continuous reminder. And then the other thing that I think is really, really important, and another thing that your brain can do, is to have a gateway of change. And so I mean that quite actually literally, is a doorway, or spin a circle. You just have to interrupt that cycle that you're in. And so when it comes to teaching my classes, when I'm having the worst day ever, I look at the door of the gym or wherever I'm teaching, and I say, when I walk through that door, I'm going to have the best energy and the best class. Like, I say that to myself, and then I walk through the door. And so that is actually proven. Like, you can look up, there's some science on it. It's really, really cool that when you break it with a physical action and the thought, that you actually create a new mindset in that moment. And I use it with my kids. So all you moms out there, you know, when your kids come at you and you're just like, that was not the right way. They don't, you know, they don't say please, or they're snarky. I got teenagers, so you know, I say stop, turn around, and I make them physically stand up and make a circle. And then I say, okay, start over. And then we can have a conversation about whatever it is that they're frustrated with.
Yeah. Is that ever interesting?
It works.
Yeah. I never even thought of physically sort of manifesting what you want your new like mental state, or like as a reset.
Yeah. So many people don't understand that it is a decision.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're actually making a decision to behave the way that we behave. So on those days when you're totally cranky, you're actually deciding to let that happen. You can change that. That's up to you.
Yeah. No. And it's nice to think of it as you can sort of be the person you want to be by those decisions.
Yes,
you know? That's
right.
Which is, it's great because we all want to obviously live really well and happily in the things we're doing.
Change the world, people. Get out there and do it.
Yeah. No, why not, right?
Yeah.
Do you have some self-care tips that you've been doing over the last few months or anything like that to deal with stress?
Got to get your workouts in, you guys. You know, and even if it's just small, the other day I did with my son, it was 15 minutes. We just did, you know, a little pyramid where we did 5 of everything, 10 of everything, 15, and then 20. You know, even the smallest movement, go for a walk, get outside, you know, and enjoy. We've had great weather. There's really no excuse. And, you know, really take the time to do those things for yourself. Sleep if you can, you know, try to get that sleep in there. And if you're having trouble with your sleep, figure out why. Get it figured out. Don't just live with it. It doesn't have to be here forever, you know? Mm-hmm. So yeah, but I would say my primary one is get some movement into your day. Yeah. Yeah.
On your website, actually, again, it's all sort of flowing into each other, but in the about section, so on o'gradyfitness.com, you mention that your intention is to bring wellness to the world. So why did you choose that as your intention? How do you sort of try to manifest that in the different things you're doing?
You know, over my life, I came to realize that my energy really impacts people. And people, you know, and I'm not saying that to be, you know, conceited or pat myself on the back, because it isn't always a positive thing. You know, it's just, I give off a lot of energy, and I've had a lot of people feedback to tell me that over the years, you know. And so if I'm cranky, people around me become cranky. If I'm happy, people around me become happy. But I feel like that's my gift, is that I have this energy that I am willing and able to share with people. And so if you're in my space, I want you to leave feeling better than when you came into my space, or at least good. You know, I don't ever want anyone, and I won't say it's never happened, because it's for sure it does. Of course it does. But I don't want anyone to ever leave my space less than they were, or feeling less than they were because of something I did or said, or because of the energy that I put out to the world. Mm-hmm. So if I have this sort of big energy flow around me all the time, and it's going to affect people, then I feel like it's my duty, it's my life purpose to affect people in a positive way.
Yeah. That's interesting also in a sense. So I was obviously, before our interview, researching you as extensively as possible with what the internet has to share.
Yeah.
And I was really surprised, actually. I knew you were doing a lot of stuff, but by the amount of really good content you've created and is available to people, both paid and free, so people can access it from like multiple different standpoints. And one thing I came across that I thought was really cool is you have your Bali Mums on the Go YouTube channel that you've been doing for a while.
I think Sonia is here, actually, my partner. I saw her join. Yeah.
Yeah, no, if you guys haven't seen it, I'll make sure to link below when I post this video. But the video I was really interested in, and I actually remembered you briefly mentioning this in my fitness training, was you had a video on pelvic floor dysfunction. And sort of the idea around it was you were talking about pelvic floor dysfunction and people leaking pee when they're doing exercises and that kind of thing, and how it might be common. So especially with women, a lot of people, you know, experience it, but that doesn't mean it necessarily has to be their normal. And so what I wanted to ask you about, are there other things like that that you think might make someone's fitness journey difficult that might be common, but don't have to be their normal or their sort of reality? They can do things to change it sometimes.
Yeah, so many things. But to keep it, you know, succinct, I will say that that two that are really stand out to me when I'm working with people is the nutritional side of things in the world is very confusing. And so I find that there's two things that people do. They either go at it a little too much and they are flipping diets and going from this program to that program to this program to that program and never really settling on anything, or they shut down, which is a fair, I think it's totally fair because it's like literally like overkill on all the information that is out there. So I would say that, you know, common is one of those two reactions to that. You have to make your own normal. So you have to do what feels good to your body. If a food makes you feel yucky, don't eat it. If it makes you feel good, eat it. But pay attention, you know, just again, it comes back to that coming out of your subconscious mind to your conscious mind, because when you bring awareness to what you're doing, you're always going to do better. When people say this diet worked for me, that diet worked for me, this diet worked for me, it's not necessarily that that diet is a magic pill for you. It's just that you're now paying attention and you're doing something that you weren't doing before. That's really, that's the one thing you have to remember when it comes to, say, nutrition, for example. Just do something that you weren't doing before. You'll see results for sure, just because you changed, you know, you started to pay attention. The other thing is the way that we speak to ourselves, you know, and I think this is not something that is not happening with men. For all the men out there, they do that as well, but I think it's more prominent with women in my experience. But obviously I work with a lot more women than I do men, so, you know, I don't want to generalize, but so I'll just speak to my experience and what I know. And I know that most women out there are not being very kind to themselves a lot of the time. And so that is too common. And it's something that we can change, you know, just like we talked about a little bit earlier. We're allowed to change that. All you have to do is in that moment, make a decision, walk through the door, turn a circle, and tell yourself something nicer. Be a bit more kind. Yeah.
No, I think like that's so true, right? You see people all the time that are these fantastic people that are just so hard on themselves with the different things they're doing. So I think you've had a lot of really good tips that I think a lot of us can take a hold of. Even if we just do some of them, it sounds like it can make a big impact in our daily lives. Is there anything else you wanted to share with us, Robin, today before we end this?
Yeah, I'll give you one more tip to take with you guys. And that is, again, I'm coming back to this brain stuff. It's so fascinating to me. If you guys ever want to chat with me about it, you just call me, you email me, you message me. You can ask Catherine. I'm always available for everybody. You know, I will never say no. I might say in an hour, but I'll never say no. So if you need anything, you know, reach out. But the the brain can only handle so much change at a time. The studies that I've seen say 5%. And so often when we try to make a shift, like January, it's January, lots of people try to make change in January. We try to do too much at once. So choose one. Just decide, this is one thing that I would like to shift or change in my world, and then put your focus and your attention on that one thing until you've got it, and then move on to a second or a third or a fourth thing. But do it one thing at a time. Don't try to change your diet, go to the gym, stop drinking, and I don't know, sleep more, all at the
Fix
same
everything.
time. It's too much. It's too much. Just pick one and just put all your energy and focus into that. Build that habit, create a new way, and then you can start the next thing.
Yeah. Honestly, that's fantastic. And I wish I would have had that advice even a few weeks ago, but it's not too late.
That's right. It's never too late.
To restructure. But thank you so much for joining me today, Robin. It was really nice getting to talk to you. And I appreciate sort of all the love you've showed us and good tips for everyone that watched this. If you guys want to connect with Robin, like I said earlier, I'll make sure to link her information either below in the comments or the description. If you want to go check it out before I do so, it's o'gradyfitness.com is her main page of her business. Thank you everyone for joining me today, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Bye.
Bye.